Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Raptors Nation podcast. I'm your host, Sean Davis. Joined with me as always, Luca Rosano, co-host of the Raptors Nation podcast. Luca, how are you doing, man? And thanks so much for hopping back on as always.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching and listening, guys. Again, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your favorite podcast and subscribe to the channel for Raptors news all season long. We're still in that weird point where there's not a whole lot to talk about, but we're getting to the point where there is going to be a lot to talk about. But with that being said, we do have something to talk about on today's show, Sean. And let's just dive right into it. Josh Jackson, he has been signed by the Toronto Raptors, filling up that final roster spot ahead of training camp. I thought it was going to be Jalen Harris. I think you suspected that it could be Jalen Harris. I was wrong. Raptors going with a curveball here, bringing in Josh Jackson, 25 years old, has had a couple of stints so far in his NBA career, spent some time with the Pistons and also the Kings a season ago. He was a star at Kansas. That's how I know him mainly at. But other than that, I mean, since he entered the NBA, what was he, a fourth overall pick, I believe? He hasn't been able to find his footing.
Yeah, really quickly, guys, before we continue, please do subscribe right here to the Raptors Nation YouTube channel. Ring that post notification bell as well, guys, and leave a like as well. It also really helps the algorithm out on YouTube and lets them know you guys are enjoying the content. And again, if you're part of the 88% of people that watch the videos but are not subscribed, come on, it's that little red button. Just click that subscribe button and hit that post notification bell as well. But like Luca was saying, the Raptors throw us a complete curveball. And go take a flyer on Josh Jackson, number 4 overall pick in that 2017 draft class. He was a pick after Jason Tatum. Imagine if Boston. Boston, and this is just for my own personal gripe, they were so confident that Tatum would be at 3, they traded back to number 3 to get Tatum. But Josh Jackson, the number 4 overall pick to the Phoenix Suns in a really good draft class, including Donovan Mitchell. Fancy that the Raptors will link to Donovan Mitchell this year, and Bam Adebayo amongst other really good players in that draft class. But you're looking at a 6'8" wing slash forward who's still really athletic. Like Lucas said, was a standout at Kansas, which is the big reason why he was a top 5 pick in 2017, who just really never found his footing in the NBA. And in a modern NBA where the league prioritizes 3-and-D wings, he definitely didn't provide the 3 part. And defensively, it wasn't the best either.
No.
His career high from 3 is 32%, and that was in his second year. And in the years after that, he shot 31.9, 30%, and he shot 26.5% in Detroit last year. And then when he went to Sacramento, he shot 17.6% from 3-point range.
Wow.
So in terms of that, that's why I think he's really had a hard time in the NBA. He's just a dart flyer that maybe sticks. And Nick Nurse has a thing for 6'8" wings that are crazy athletic with a lot of size. So it was definitely a curveball. But, I mean, for it to be – you're taking a chance on a guy who's still young. Why not?
I think that's the big point here. He's still only 25 years old. And if there's one team that's going to resurrect his career and turn his career around, it is the Toronto Raptors. But you mentioned it. I mean, in a league that is filled with 3-and-D guys, you want to stick around in this league as a role player, you got to be able to hit the 3 ball and you got to be able to defend. And unfortunately, Jackson has struggled doing both, but he has the stature, he has the length, he has the athleticism to be able to do both, but he just hasn't put it all together. He hasn't figured it out. He has definitely been a disappointment for his sake early on in his career. A lot of people are high on him. He probably expected himself to be in a much different situation now. But it's not, all is not lost. There's still an opportunity for him to work with the Raptors developmental team and really learn and thrive playing with some of the other guys on this team. And he's going to have his work cut out for him. It's not going to be easy. He's going to have to beat out some other guys to make it to the actual roster. Guys like Delano Banton, guys like Justin Champagnie. So he's going to have to bring his A game. But at least for his sake, he gets an opportunity here. And this could be his last big chance to really crack a legitimate team and crack a legitimate organization in the Toronto Raptors. So we'll see how motivated he is. We'll see how he comes prepared once camp starts. But look, Sean, he has all the intangibles. Like I said, he's got that size. He's yet another 6'8" player on this Raptors team. I'm rooting for Josh Jackson. I was a big fan of his when he played with the Kansas Jayhawks, and I still think that he can turn it around. So we'll see if the Raptors can get the most out of him.
Yeah, and you were kind of alluding to it as well. And this was what Blake Murphy reported that of Sportsnet, that Jackson's on a non-guaranteed deal. It's just a regular old school training camp invite deal where if he plays well, he could very well make his way on the official 15-man Toronto Raptors roster heading into the regular season. This doesn't affect the Raptors in terms of their money situation either. Just an unguaranteed contract, non-guaranteed contract that I feel, again, I said this in a video earlier, go check that out. It's a low risk, high reward for the Raptors. And it's what, like you mentioned, Luca, could be, unfortunately, Josh Jackson's last real opportunity to shape a role in the NBA. And I'm not even saying that if he makes a team, he'll be playing significant minutes, but proving to Nick Nurse, who in my opinion is the second best head coach in basketball, but proving to a top 3 head coach that you're still an NBA player and someone that you can be trusted if an injury happens or multiple injuries at this point, because the Raptors have so much depth. But if an injury happens, you're willing to step up, and in this culture that's very next man up mentality, you're willing to step up, and Nick Nurse can still rely on you and trust you. So, like you mentioned, this could be his last stop, unfortunately.
That's some high praise there. Nick Nurse, second best coach in the NBA. Who's your number one? I'm curious.
Spo.
Yeah, I thought so. Spoelstra. Yeah, I agree with that. I know I'm getting off topic here, but it's interesting that you bring that up. Nick Nurse is definitely in my top 3. I would probably say Spoelstra as well. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. So, but going back to your point, Nick Nurse, if he has faith in you, if he has trust in you, and if Josh Jackson can ultimately make the 50-man rotation, that's going to say a lot about him. And if he can turn his entire career around, does he ultimately make it? Probably not. Like you said, there's nothing attached to this. It's literally low risk, high reward, nothing to lose. See what he can give you. And I know the Josh Jackson fans out there are going to be rooting for him. So yeah, we'll see what he brings to the table. But ultimately, there's just so many good players on this training camp roster. It's going to be so few limited spots. Competition is going to be steep. Man, it's going to be tough to see how this one plays out. A lot of guys are going to be hungry for that opportunity.
All right, guys, so let's have a little bit of fun here. And that was great talk on Josh Jackson. But let's have a little bit of fun here. And let's take a look and see where the Raptors stack up in the Eastern Conference against each team. And we've done something similar. We did our record predictions. We did our power rankings. But in today's podcast, we're going to go team by team and kind of, do this team on a scale of this team really worries me, I'm indifferent, or no, I love my chances, balls to the wall. I like my shot against this team. I think we'll have a lot of fun doing this. And Luca, where do you want to start off first, man?
Yeah, I guess I'll set the tone here, take the rope. So how I'll do this is I'm looking at last year's NBA standings, particularly in the Eastern Conference, and I'll go from 15 and up and just go quick in terms of the teams and how they match up against the Raptors. So in terms of teams that I'm not worried about whatsoever being a problem to the Raptors, the Magic, I know they have a bright future. Paolo Banchero, fellow Italian, I'm very high on him. I think the Magic do have a lot of good young pieces. They could be one of those teams that could make some noise in a few years, but they're still ways away from that. So Raptors going against the Magic does not worry me. The Pistons. I'm high on the Pistons. I'm higher on the Pistons than you are, Sean, as I made known in my standings, my power rankings, whatever you want to call it, that we did a couple shows ago. The Pistons are going to be much better than they were a season ago. Dwayne Casey, for whatever reason, still has the Raptors number. So do they worry me? No. Are they going to be problematic to the Raptors? Yes, especially since they're going to be better. So that's going to be a matchup that the Raptors definitely got to bring their A game for. Pacers, don't worry me. The Wizards, don't worry me. I think the Raptors can easily take those teams. The Knicks, who have what, 340 million plus dedicated to Julius
Jalen,
Randle, Jalen Brunson, and RJ Barrett. Like, does that team worry me? Does that team scare me? No. I know. I think I have the
Thibodeau
Knicks
is the coach.
sneaking into the plan, but they're not gonna. They're not a threat to the Raptors. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just talking about with Tibbs as the head coach, who
Yeah,
I'm lower on. Yeah, no,
no.
they don't. They don't scare me.
I saw a tweet. It made me laugh. I mean, they called that big three. Well, I'm calling it a big three. They call it the mid three,
Mid three.
the most expensive mid three in the NBA. That mid three ain't scaring the Raptors. I'll tell you that much. Hornets, they're not scaring the Raptors. The Cleveland Cavaliers, okay, you might consider this a hot take or not. I can see them on the same playing field as the Raptors. Cleveland is the team to me that I think takes a very big leap. I know I talked about the Pistons potentially taking that leap into the play-in. The Cavs, who finished, what did they finish? Ninth. They missed the playoffs. That's a team that I can see getting into a top four position or flirt with that, like top four, top five
Okay.
position. I'm really high on the Cavaliers, so that's a team that I could see potentially on the same playing level as the Raptors if those guys pan out. Hawks, I'm going to say no. Honestly, we talked about this in our show before. The addition of DeJounte Murray, I don't think it's going to make the Hawks significantly better. I still think that's going to be a team that the Raptors are going to be better than. Brooklyn, everybody's coming back. If they're engaged, I'll put them on the same tier as the Raptors. Chicago, not scaring me. I think they're going to take a step back. We both had them, I think, missing the playoffs or no, finishing ninth. So I guess in the play-in. That's a team that didn't make any significant changes. And yeah, I don't think that Bulls team is going to be better than they were a season ago. So Raptors clear them. Now it's going to get interesting. So the 76ers, I'll put them on kind of the same tier as the Toronto Raptors, and I guess I'll put the Miami Heat as well. Although I do think the Miami Heat are going to take a step back. So those are some teams that I have on the same tier. Just to reiterate: Heat, Sixers, Nets, and I guess my hot take is the Cavaliers. And then two teams who I think are better than the Raptors as of now are going to be the Celtics and the Bucks. So I said this last show. I'll say it again. I think 1 and 2 is going to be Bucks, Celtics, interchangeable, whatever the order is. But I think after that, it's going to be open, and the Raptors could definitely enter that second tier and compete for a third seed in the East. So, yeah, basically the Raptors can beat any team. I just think, yeah, the Celtics and the Bucks are going to be the team to beat.
Yeah, Luke, I agree with with most of your lists, but I guess I'll just have a crack at running through the Eastern Conference. The Orlando Magic don't concern me, although I will say, and maybe it's because I do like the Magic team this year. They had, I believe, the 7th best defense post the All-Star break. They got more. They got more talent. I mean, part of it is they're getting healthy. Jonathan Isaac presumably getting back to full strength this year. That you adding in Paolo Banchero this season as well. So I'm not worried about them, but I would keep an eye on them, and I just like the Magic this year. The Pistons, I don't. I mean, they don't worry me either, but they're like the if you're a Jays fan, they're like the Baltimore Orioles, where they're just annoying and they're a pest. Um, you just can't get away with them. You can't get away from them. They're just always a pain in your side, a thorn in your side. But all in all, they don't worry me that much. And I already feel I'm already lower on them than you are, Luca. Going through the rest of it, the Pacers. No, I like their talent, but they just can't guard worth anything, man. Like they had, I believe, the second worst defense since the All-Star break. So adding in Tyrese Halliburton, since that trade, they were the second worst defense in basketball in terms of defensive rating at like 120 point, I want to say 9 defensive rating. It was something ridiculously bad like that. By the way, that is bad. If that's offense, that'd be good. But yeah, they just can't guard worth anything, and they're not that deep. The Wizards don't concern me. As a matter of fact, the Wizards, in my opinion, kind of going off track here, they are in a very weird spot to me. Like, I don't know what their direction is. Like, they're playing like they're building the team like they want to compete, but I don't know. The Wizards are a very, very weird basketball team and a very weird run organization. The Knicks don't scare me. They have the mid three, like Lucas said. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that. Charlotte, same reason, man. Like they can't guard worth anything. So I feel like the Raptors, who don't even have that great of an half court offense, will last year anyway. I do think it'll improve for reasons we've talked about in the past. I think to be able to score on these teams, and we know the Raptors should be elite defensively. So, yeah, I have no worries at all about the Charlotte Hornets. The Cavs is where it starts to get interesting. I'm not sure if I would say they could be a 4 seed this year. That's where I tamper a little bit than you. But I do think the Cavs, they don't worry me per se, but I know that I'm like, okay, crap, we're facing Cleveland. Like, it's going to be a tough one. They're very, very well coached. They have a bunch of talent. Part of it is, they're just getting better based off of development. Again, they're very well coached, and they didn't make the playoffs last year because of health.
Yeah.
Darius Garland missed a chunk of that second half of the season. We know what happened to Colin Sexton. We know what happened with Ricky Rubio was a big piece for this first half of that season. I believe Kevin Love dealt with some injuries. I know Evan Mobley, I think, dealt with some injuries as well. So they were just a very injury-riddled team, and you were looking at the G League version of the Cavs. It felt like for a 2-week stretch last season. I really am high on the Cavs team this year, so I'd say they're on the same playing field. We are thinking the same telewave. I don't know if that's not even a word, but we're on the same wavelength. There we go. For the Hawks just don't move the needle for me, and it's the DeJounte Murray trade doesn't do it for me. I've said in the past, I think the Hawks needed more of a wing scorer than another guard. The only benefit out of that deal for me is you let Trey, who's an elite off-ball shooter, do that more often, but it's not enough for me to say, yep, they're on the same level as the Raptors.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, I'm not going to say I'm worried because Brooklyn's, I don't trust them. I feel like they could self-destruct at any minute. So you have to show me first, Brooklyn. Chicago, same wavelength. Not worried about them at all. They got worse, in my opinion, and their defense is solely dependent on Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball being healthy. And unfortunately, because I love those guys, they haven't been able to stay healthy. So Chicago does not worry me at all, and I just think they got worse in general. Philly, I'm lower on Philly, but I do agree they're probably on the same level as the Raptors. I think we can beat them. I think with a team that now has, that was a really young team that now has a playoff experience, if we met up in a 7-game series, I think we could get them. I picked the Raptors to win last season with no playoff experience outside of the Siakam, family, I guess OG as well. But that was a really young team last year, and I picked them still. And then Miami is so weird to me. I'm actually gonna say they worry me a little bit. So I guess they're in that tier above. But if you put them in that second tier. So I have no gripes with that. I don't know. I'm gonna give Spo the benefit of the doubt. He's earned it. And Miami just finds guys out of thin air that turn into stud rotation players. Like they found Duncan Robinson and Max Strus. Like, where did you find these guys? So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. They did lose PJ Tucker, but they have some guys that could fill in that role. Although they're younger, more unproven guys. It's Miami, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt there. And like you said, Milwaukee, Boston, no brainers. Although we face Boston, I think we can get Boston. Milwaukee, I'm not sure because Giannis is just ridiculous. But Boston, I think we could get Boston. I really do. I really do think if in a 7-game series, I think the Raptors could get them.
I think the reverse. I just think the Raptors have the Bucks number. It's weird. Every time they play the Bucks, they just play such a complete game. It's like they have Giannis's numbers going back to the Eastern Conference Finals when Kawhi was here. Boston is the Raptors' kryptonite. I think that's a team that matches up against the Raptors really, really well. Although the Raptors were in some competitive battles with the Celtics last season, call me crazy. I'd rather see the Raptors and Bucks in a 7-game series versus having the Raptors and Celtics in a 7-game series. So we're on the opposite of that. We'll see how that ages over time. One thing I'll say about our lists, yeah, I guess you're higher on my Miami's a little bit more than I am. I'm still big on Miami. I just think the Raptors are on the same playing field. Are we both underestimating the Nets? Because every single year I've overestimated them. I've had the Nets come out of the East, make it to the finals. This is the one year I would say, yeah, the first year that this whole KD Nets experiment has been going on, that I'm not high on the Nets. But I have this funny feeling it might come back and bite me. Can the Nets actually put this thing together? And could they be amongst that tier with Boston and Milwaukee?
If you told me it happened, I wouldn't be too surprised. They have the talent to be able to do that. But I mean, I think the reason why we haven't done that yet, or like say they're a title contender, or they're up there. Well, they're a title contender, but like one of the favorites up there with Boston, Milwaukee's, because I think we've been burned way too much by this Brooklyn team. And the way this offseason went, again, it feels like this could go up in flames legitimately in any moment. And worded like, does Katie really not like? I mean, even if he doesn't like not like Steve Nash and Sean Marks, you have to imagine it's gonna be a really, really weird and really, really toxic locker room. I mean, throwing Ben Simmons into the fire too now. Got a lot of new pieces, or a decent amount of new pieces that you try to have to fit together. Like Joe Harris, he's not a new piece, but he missed almost all the last season. You're trying to reintegrate him into a locker room that's toxic now, and with a bunch of new players. So talent-wise, sure, they could be up there, but I don't trust this Brooklyn Nets team personally.
I think that's perfectly said, and that's the reason why I'm not high on them this season, as I've been in seasons past. Is this thing can blow at any minute, and yeah, all those egos in that locker room. Who knows if it's going to all come together? We don't even know what Ben Simmons looks like after he hasn't played in so long, so it's going to be interesting. That's the one team that I'm most interested to watch, other than the Raptors, just to see if they can piece it together, if they can put it all together, and if they are a team that we'll be talking about towards the end of the season for either making a run or just self-imploding.
Yeah, we got Brooklyn early in the year, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's one of the first games. I think, isn't it the second game?
It's the second game of the year at Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, I'll get to watch the Nets very soon into the season.
Man, you look at this 7 games now, like it's even more of a gauntlet now that Brooklyn's fully healthy. Like, yeah, I know we went through the schedule already, so go check out that video, but I'm just gonna reread this schedule because this is ridiculous. October, so kick off the season, at home against Cleveland, who we're really high on, at Brooklyn, who we're, I guess, high on, but we're holding some reservations on them. Back-to-back at Miami, back-to-back at home against Philly, and at Atlanta.
Yeah, so basically, going based on what we said in this show, the Raptors are playing every team on their team. Yeah, except one on their same level.
Man, it's gonna be a gauntlet, and we're gonna keep you all covered this season with all the Raptors' latest news, game coverage, film breakdowns, and more. I can't wait for that, and I can't wait to get out of the dog days of the off season. Luca, my man, this was fun as always. Thank you for hopping on with us.
As always, Sean, pleasure, and we'll catch you all again in the next one.
Stay safe, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.